A very good evening and a warm welcome to our first edition of UBC News Tonight on this 11th day of September 2022. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and Muhammad Mugalun Sign Language Interpretation. Now we start off with our first inlining story. This evening, the Queen's coffin has arrived at Holyrood House Palace in Edinburgh after being greeted by thousands of people at the city's Royal Mile. Now the funeral cortege has now completed a 6-hour journey from Balmoral Castle, silent onlookers, through floral tributes in the path of the coffin along the route. The coffin will be flown to London on Tuesday, and the Queen will lie in state at Westminster Hall from Wednesday. The Queen's funeral will be held in Westminster Abbey on Monday the 19th of September. It will be a bank holiday. Charles III was proclaimed king at an elaborate ceremony on Saturday, with further proclamations taking place in the UK nations today. Prince William says he is honoured to have been made the new Prince of Wales and vows to deepen his relations with Welsh communities. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor was born on the 21st of April 1926 in a house just off Berkeley Square in London. The first child of Albert, Duke of York, second son of George V, and his Duchess, the former Lady Elizabeth Bowes Lyon. Now, over 500 tenants in Nakalanga village in Jerusalem County, Bunyoro district are living in fear of eviction following a directive from their landlord to buy their tenancy rights at a cost that seems expensive for them. The outcry was made during a recent community meeting known as Baraza with their leaders to forge a way forward on the looming eviction. We have details in this report.
Among the laws governing the Landlord and Tenant Act of Uganda is the tenant or squatter being given a 6 months notice of termination of tenancy before their landlord. However, tenants in Nakalanga village, Njeru sub-county, Bunyoro district, have appealed to government to intervene in a looming eviction by their landlord, who has reportedly set conditions of either they pay for their tenancy rights at 15 million shillings per acre or unceremoniously vacate.
Bomba temukiriza kwesarako bakwegula bagenda basenda
kazi watu ngabwendi nze ndi namwandu sina kasente wadde akaki engaba nanze yenuma ku ttaka ino sina kyennumirwa sengaba nalongoosa ku ttaka lino engaba ffe tujja kubanga tukoze eki milioni 15 sizirabangako bukyanzaaliwa siwavangako na milioni 5 mu ngalo za kazi.
The landlord, only identified as John Nkutu, is alleged to have stopped tenants from paying ground rent, which is against the law.
Tuwadde emyezi egi bomba temukiriza kwesarako bakwegula bagenda basenda naye olwaliwo baba ayimirira wano yeegaana abatuze bakoze eki baba ayita ate ng'ebiwandiiko.
The squatters or tenants disclose that their landlord has now started sending them strangers to intimidate them. However, tenants suggested an impeachment of their chairperson for allegedly conniving with their landlord John Nkutu to evict them on short notice without following the bona fide occupant's concession. The chairperson, Buyukwe District, Jime Kanabi, says the landlord must follow the right procedures. These include tenants enjoying security of occupancy on the land, may acquire a certificate of occupancy by applying through the landowner, may assign, pledge, and create third-party rights in the land without consent of the landowner, among others. According to the law, tenants have an opportunity to acquire land on which they have been staying for over 10 years before the landlord sells it to another person. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Water and Environment are grappling with squatters' encroachment on a chunk of land within Kayunga Forest Reserve. This was demonstrated during the Bamgemerere Commission, where leaders disclosed that they fear for their lives to comment on the said parceling out chunks of land within Kayunga Forest Reserve.
The community has been at arms saying what is happening. But of course they also have to act silently because these guys are hostile. They are armed. These people, you may not sleep in your home.
It was noted that Kayunga District Land Board has on many occasions connived with the wealthy persons who are occupying these conserved fragile ecosystems.
Both communication from anything Abagamba don't title out Bajo land. Actually, there were like 3 gazetted forest reserves.
Denying that they are titles?
I cannot say I'm denying, but I am not aware.
Are you sure that there are no titles?
I am not 100% sure.
So what do you know as a senior land management officer? Because you see, you also have to be serious. I have a whole big file like this of titles. So if you come and say you don't know that they are titles, I begin to wonder whether you know your job.
From this side, my lord.
It's not from this side. It is how does the title come out? You have already had complaints. If you've had complaints, did you write to anybody to say, by the way, this is a forest, don't title it?
Kayunga district officials were faulted for giving out public land under dubious circumstances.
Bunyoro Forest Reserve. Bunyoro Forest Reserve, Central Forest Reserve, is the biggest of them. It's the largest. It has 3,373 hectares, which is about 10,000 acres of land. And what you can see with your eyes is that there's a lot of shrub. They could have more trees and more forest cover. I think that tree cover is not very much. It is also encroached upon in that people have titles.
The 3 central forest reserves of Wamale, Bajo and Kihura were illegally titled by Kayunga District Land Board. Wamale Central Forest Reserve, with 150,000 hectares, has been encroached upon by sugarcane growing.
The owners of this sugarcane plantation are called GM, and their sugarcane plantation comes all the way from Wamale to where we are now, which is called Kihura Central Forest Reserve. Kihura Central Forest Reserve is also somewhere in Galilaya, in this area called Galilaya, and it's this area of Kihura is 2,147 hectares, which is about 6,000 acres. And as you can see, there's fresh excavation.
Efforts were mooted to create boundaries to protect Katosil Lake Reserve so that people do not go beyond its buffer zone. This followed encroachment on protected areas within the area. Land remains a contentious issue in Uganda since most people's livelihoods depends on agriculture. So that Kaye, UBC News.
Now, a new book authored by William Matovu gives an in-depth insight into costly ventures of road infrastructure projects and the necessary steps that should be taken in order to execute road projects in Uganda. Now, land acquisition for right-of-way is blamed for stalling key projects as government and project-affected persons clash, especially on matters of compensation.
Uganda's laws on land acquisition will need a critical analysis and amendment in order to facilitate infrastructural development. The Minister for Works and Transport, General Katumba Wamala, says it is becoming more difficult and costly to acquire the right-of-way from landowners, an issue he attributes to corruption, misinformation and greed.
Then they go out and buy chunks and chunks of land. And then, you know, my people here, the innocent fellows, not very innocent anyway, the innocent fellows of UNRWA, they are accused that they are the ones who are buying land where the project is going to pass. But there are so many speculators out there.
He gave an example of the delays experienced in the construction of the Entebbe Expressway and the recent standoff on the Natete-Mpigi Expressway due to a tree that a clan said was cultural and vehemently opposed its cut down.
I can't forget the Entebbe Expressway around Kajans, where we had graves. You remember, Mr. Mato? And then people said, these are our graves. We buried our judges here. We can't leave. We said, okay, no problem. We are going to relocate these graves somewhere, bury them decently. You go and test for DNA. Then you come back. When your DNA is matched to the grave, you come and pick the bones of your ancestors. Did they come back?
This was at the launch of a book titled Compulsory Land Acquisition for Road Infrastructure Projects, A Practitioner's Mind by William Matovu.
It has indeed taken me 2 full years of writing and having this book published, which publication happened on the 12th of August 2022.
The State Minister for Land, Senior Counsel Samuel Matovu, noted that land acquisition is a challenge that needs a convergence of ideas for amicable solutions.
So what has happened to now raise to a level where public projects cannot even proceed? As you are aware, the moment you sign a loan agreement, the moment Uganda signs a loan agreement, commitment fees start accruing. And sometimes these fees, that percentage, accrues for several years because land still has to be acquired.
The book, available in hard copy and online, puts thoughts on paper on matters of land acquisition and what needs to be done to facilitate road infrastructure projects. Dennis Igor for UBC News.
Uganda's athletics prodigy Jacob Kiplimo has continued his ascendancy atop the global athletics ladder with an impressive run that won the Great North Run in Newcastle. Kiplimo edged a strong field that included Solomon Barega and the great Ethiopian Kanenisa Bekele to win the half marathon in 59 minutes and 33 seconds. This completes a successful 2 months for the 21-year-old, having won a Commonwealth Game double in the 5,000 and 10,000 meters in Birmingham last month. Kiplimo is also the world half marathon record holder with a time of 57 minutes and 31 seconds. The Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Colonel Tom Butime, described Uganda as the leading country in ecotourism that has affected many tourists in the country. The minister was speaking during the inauguration ceremony of the new council members for Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute, Katwe, in Katwe, Kabatoro Town, Kasese District.
The Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Colonel Tom Butime, has said that Uganda being an ecotourism destination, the revenue base has increased, giving room to government to deliver services to the people. The minister was speaking during an inauguration ceremony of the new council members for Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute, Katwe. In Katwe Kabatoro Town Council, Kasese District, he implored the new council to be committed to seeing that the institution attracts many students that would add value in their research in the area of tourism.
By now, I'm sure that you know that Uganda is exceptionally endowed with rich biodiversity and abundance of natural resources, including plants, trees, unique wild animals, mountains, birds, amphibians, butterflies, fish. This endowment makes Uganda a top eco-tourism destination.
The newly appointed council chairperson for the institute, Sarah Narude, noted that the institution has attracted many youth who are now working in various tourist sites, addressing the issue of unemployment in the country.
We have started on the research. We have issues of invasive species, which we have started on to see how we can manage them. Because with those invasive species, the animals run away, and therefore the tourists don't have what to see, and we reduce on the turnover of the tourists, and therefore the revenue collected is not much.
She noted that policies for the institution and human resource are key in ensuring that the institution becomes a center of excellency.
That we need to develop their infrastructure to be able to achieve the center of excellence of research and training. We need to develop the human resource. We need to develop policies which the old council, the outgoing council has started, and of which I was a member. We also need to look at the research agenda so that we're able to help manage wildlife in Uganda, which is key in achieving the Vision 2020 and NDP 3.
The principal, Uganda Wildlife Research and Training Institute, Friday Geoffrey, commended the government for ensuring that the learners and the teaching staff remain in a conducive environment.
Jinja City is one of the urban centers in the country with some of the oldest buildings. Because most of these structures are of national heritage, efforts are on to preserve them. Sri Santarayan Hindu Temple is one of the structures that is being revamped with a touch of paint, courtesy of Plascon Paints. We have the details.
Sri Santarayan, a Hindu temple, is one of the oldest Indian temples in Jinja. And despite the Indians chased out of the country in the 1970s, one Ugandan remained as a custodian to the temple. Now, after years without refurbishment, Plascon has offered to repaint the temple to its original standards. Donating paint worth 50 million shillings, they believe that before the Shri festival that gathers close to 3,000 people, a new face will be on the entire temple.
Be in new colors and bright colors that will really help us to attract more and more people to come and pray in the temple.
Santosh Gunta, the managing director Plascon, pledged more support to the Hindu community, saying that religious institutions play a big part in the community bonding and transforming humanity.
This temple is of significant cultural importance. This was constructed in 1950, and it's basically a heritage site. So we are very proud to be associated with this temple. There is a function coming up towards the end of the month, and that's why this is happening.
The paint donation is the second in a week after an offer to Lubaga Hospital that was given paint to change face, accompanied with 20 million shillings that was given to the Anglican Church to assist in clearing the debts accumulated during the construction of the church house.
Masaka City says government's intervention with the urban infrastructure program has set the stage for its full evolution as a regional commercial hub. The city mayor, Florence Namayanja, says a 5-year World Bank funding for the former municipality and now city worth 45 billion Uganda shillings has been well utilized. She cites key roads such as the Katwe bypass, Birch Avenue, Alexander Road and Hill Road, among others, that have received fresh carpeting into bitumen of 8 kilometers combined.
Masaka City Mayor Florence Namayanja has the city on the right trajectory in the implementation of the multi-billion shilling urban infrastructure projects funded by the World Bank. Florence Namayanja, who led field inspection of Masaka City roads with officials from Ministries of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Local Government, USMID, PPDA, NEMA, disclosed that the city was allocated 45 billion shillings for infrastructure development.
I therefore take the opportunity to thank wholeheartedly the government through the Ministry of Lands for the funds expended to address and implement this program. Thank you so much.
The program coordinator, Dr. Isaac Mutenyo, appealed to the new cities and municipalities management to ensure that better physical plans are developed in order to enable effective implementation of the infrastructure.
Snag here, what we see on this road is that the part of the road is very narrow, and as you can see, it is a curve. So it's quite a risky place, but we have advised the contractor together with the engineer to see that they put safety measures, especially on the outer part of the curve. Otherwise, that is the risk we've seen on this road. It's narrow, it's sloping, and there's a very steep curve. What we can say now, I think this contractor, the first batch, has progressed very well, and I think we should be able to finish all the work in Masaka before the project ends in 2023.
A cross-section of the business community in Masaka is equally asking for the creation of a maintenance budget to enable the infrastructure have a long lifespan.
The challenge we are having, we are worried the sustainability of this project. All roads are good, solars are put up, but we are going to get the money to maintain. That is the biggest challenge. We need to think above.
Part of this new infrastructure include roads like Katwe Bypass 0.6 kilometers, Barnes Terrace 0.39 kilometers, Batch Avenue 0.11 kilometers, Alexander Road 0.47 kilometers, and Hill Road 1.4 kilometers.
I've been to Mbale, I've been to Fort, I've been to Jinja, but what UCBD has done in terms of infrastructure development is really commendable. So I want to thank you, the commissioners and technocrats around, for the vision that you put on paper and having it implemented the way it's being implemented.
There remains a huge road and related infrastructure deficit across these sprawling metropolitan areas countrywide, a concern that is partly blamed on low tax revenue base in the new cities and municipalities. Vincent Wamundu compiled this report.
Now, in the early 70s, 10 years into post-independent Uganda, the third president of the Republic of Uganda improved transmission of Radio Uganda by installing powerful analog transmission masts in various upcountry regions of Uganda. Now, in today's episode of Commander-in-Chief, we relate to you what transpired 50 years ago at Kabale, Chisoro, when the president of Uganda, General Idi Amin Dada, was officiating the launch of the installation of a new transmitter in Chisoro, and he was accompanied by His Excellency Major General Saidi Bare, the President of Somalia then. Take a look.
Welcome to Commander-in-Chief Files, and in this episode of CNC Files, we call forth what happened in 1972 when the Commander-in-Chief, President General Idi Amin Dada, VC, DSO, MC, and Conqueror of the British Empire, invited the President of Somali Democratic Republic, His Excellency Major General Said Barre, to launch the new transmitting broadcast site in Kabale. At that time, radio was 2 years away to clocking 2 decades, and television in Uganda was still in its infantry stages, transmitting in black and white. In his introductory remarks, this is what His Excellency Idi Amin Dada had to say.
Your Excellency, Major General Jale Muhammad Siad Barre, President of Democratic Republic of Somalia, Your Excellency, distinguished delegates of Somalia, distinguished delegates of Soviet Union, distinguished delegates of Cameroon and Brazzaville, delegates of Central African Republic, honorable ministers, Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Dear brother, it is once more my greatest pleasure to welcome you here at Kabale to perform the stone laying ceremony for one of the most important services of my government. The function you are about to perform marks the beginning of the erection of our fourth regional transmitting station, which is located here at Kieriba Hill in Kigezi district and will serve the western part of the country. Today, radio is one of the most powerful weapons that can be effectively used to fight away the disease being spread among our people by the enemy. My government has embarked on an extensive development program not only on the services provided by radio but also on the television network.
The guest of honor, President Said Barre, also leader of the Somali Revolutionary Socialist Party, had his turn to talk to Ugandans, and he defined communication with a lot of intellectual lucidity.
I salute, in the name of the Somali people, His Excellency, the President of the Uganda Republic, General Idi Amin Dada, the members of the armed forces, government, and the people of Uganda as a whole, and particularly the residents of this district, thanking them for the warm and brotherly welcome reserved for us. I am very much honored of having given this opportunity to lay the stone for a radio station in this beautiful and rich district. A radio station means progress, means communications, and communication means the development in all its field, particularly informations which mobilize people in knowing what is happening in the world, what is happening in their country, and through which they receive their instructions from their government and from their leaders, and through which they themselves expand their culture and also their wealth.
This project was part of a series of new transmitting sites which had been opened to foster communication and broadcasting in the various regions in the country.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Dean Chibirige. Now moving on, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Annette Among, has extended a sum of 10 million Uganda shillings towards development of Lango Education Fund in northern Uganda. Now, in a message delivered for her by Bukoli's Central Member of Parliament, Solomon Silwany, he did say that this was during an education symposium and fundraising event at Silver Springs Hotel in Bogolobi by Lango Development Forum. Take a look.
Awelo Sub-County, Molata District.
These are some of the testimonies shared by beneficiaries of Lango Development Forum. Some have graduated, while others are still pursuing various courses.
As a child, they will respond to you, they will talk to you, they'll give you time, they'll mentor you. So that's the beauty.
Lango Development Forum got me from my village in Wansolo, landing site, a fishing village in Akohoro sub-county.
I got another family, much as I lost all my parents, but I got a better family, Lango Development Forum.
The initiative started about 20 years ago, aimed at countering challenges experienced by people in such needful predicaments.
100% of Lango children who go to university do not study in Lango, they study in central Uganda.
However, even when there has been some progress, the education standards in Lango sub-region are still reported low. Statistics from Uganda Bureau of Statistics indicate that the national literacy rate stands at 66%, with Lango being below average at 48%.
Advocacy for innovation and construction of more schools so that we have schools in the sub-counties that do not have schools.
If you find a Lango man working, you will know that if there are 5, only 2 of them have gone to school.
This is the kind of situation that Lango Development Forum is seeking to adjust. It is the reason why an education symposium has been held to raise funds for the same.
The statistics given by Professor is a bit disturbing by all standards, and all of us have to wake up, because when some of us were going to secondary school in the 70s, things were completely different.
To support the cause was the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among Annette, with 10 million Uganda shillings.
This is 10 million shillings that the Speaker gave me cash for this function, and this is the letter.
Her portrait was auctioned to raise more funds.
Lango region, you are unique. Other regions go into political fights, go into battles, instead of organizing themselves into a strong force to support the vulnerable groups of people in society.
Represented by Bukoli Central Member of Parliament, Solomon Silwany, Speaker Anita challenged the other regions in the country to embrace similar productive causes.
So if regions are united, they are going to perform so well. And I thank Lango region for education fund, where we have contributed and supported. I think this should be embraced by all other regions.
It is reported that nearly 100% of children pass well outside Lango sub-region, a trend that well-wishers are seeking to change. Henry Okrut, UBC.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we return after these messages. Don't move an inch.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and the ahs.
Forget every moment that stole the show, because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed, and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions, plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Ooh, they look nice.
Thank you, honey.
Yo!
You guys gather, it's going down.
Gather! Gather! Yo!
I tell you what.
Yo!
Airtel is giving you bigger data bundles for the same price. Dial star 175 hash to choose from our range of bigger Chillax bundles that don't expire. Bigger monthly bundles, all for the same price, and stay connected longer to loved ones. Airtel, the smartphone network.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Cooking with electricity is now affordable. Cook your beans. Avoid smoke.
Sayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. With the Fumba tariff, you can now buy up to 70 units of Yaka at a reduced price of 412 Uganda shillings per unit after consuming your first 80 units of the month. For more information, contact the Electricity Regulatory Authority on 0200 506 000.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You say I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel money.
You don't need the documents. You just say to register.
What's going on here? He sells things from the shop, and behind my back, he gets the money and gives it to his girlfriends.
But just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet and only you, the owner, have access to it. Just dial *185 *10 hash and now you are on. No waiting. Huh? This insanity is sweet. Give them also.
I only take Airtel Money Pay. It's easy and secure.
Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy. No mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break. And now into more news. United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization has rolled out its O3+ project that targets a healthy living of youth in higher and tertiary education institutions. Now, the 5-year project that started in 2021 has now been established at Ndeje University in Luero District.
Nations Education, Scientific and Culture Organization's O3+ project is all about the youth and is dubbed Our Rights, Our Lives, Our Future.
young people should remember that they are still young. We have had a long tendency of thinking that the young people at university are old enough, yet they still need a lot of support and a lot of guidance and a lot of mentoring to ensure that we help them get out of the excitement they have of that age and look towards the future, which will be beautiful for them.
The project goal is to ensure young people realize health, education and gender equality outcomes through sustained reduction in new HIV infections, unintended pregnancies and thorough education on gender-based violence.
Yes, you have a life, you have rights, but how do you use it to ensure that you have a sustainable future? This one we don't teach. It's not examinable, but it has got to be acquired through interactive discussions and dialogue.
Once fully implemented, the project that is evident in many countries will enable youth in higher education institutions reach full education potential and contribute more effectively to the development of their countries. The project will have an institutionalized compulsory sex education module that will benefit more than 200,000 students across several institutions.
Now, the Minister of State for Works, Fred Byamukama, has commissioned piped water system worth 35 million shillings for the Faith of Unity believers in Kakumiro district under his funding, urging them to embrace government programs such as parish development model and education. We have more.
The Minister of State for Works, Fred Byamukama, who is also the Bugangai's West MP in Kakumiro, Fred Byamukama has officiated the commissioning of a tap of water system and the handover of a vehicle to Faith of Unity Church in Chefumbizi Cell in Kakindo, Igomba Town Council, Kakumiro District. The Land Cruiser was donated to Obusobozi Bisaka's heir, Omukwenda Akungizibwe, by President Museveni recently.
It is we Ugandans solve some of the problems even before the government comes in. Government has identified a place. It is also trying to dig water or construct water. But before it comes, let us have this. And maybe the money we are going to spend here, they can spend it to another place like this. There are many places like these ones, and all of them need water.
Omukwenda Akungizibwe Bisaka thanked President Museveni for donating a vehicle to him, as well as ushering in constitutionalism, rule of law, freedom of association, and allowing the Book of Oneness to be used in courts of law for swearing in.
Nitushima government ya NRM abo kutuikiriza kusomesa abantu ekigambo ky'Olungu kandi nitongera kugisima abo President Museveni abo kumanyira nyikira y'obumu kugisagika mu buli kintu kyonna.
The Bugangai's East MP Aisha Agaba applauded Faith of Unity founder Obusobozi Bisaka for integrating government program in Faith of Unity sector.
Obusobozi wabale kutuha muzire wabale kutuha tato mulungi akunywanisa gavumenti n'edini y'obumwe tata omukama Ruhanga nanyewe nsaba ntakarugire hano womba mukisa nanyewe wange nyineyo kukwenda bwa kisita ngene nteka hamezi amarungi abantu bange.
The head of Kakumiro Faith of Unity branch, Omukwenda Munyaneza and Omukwenda Baguma, thanked President Museveni for remembering the plight of believers of Faith of Unity.
The Chancellor, Kaiwa International University and founder of Namirembe Christian Fellowship, Professor Simeon Kale Kaiwa, has advised church leaders against commercializing centers of worship but free healing centers. Now, this was contained in his 4-day sermon during a mega crusade and conference organized by Namirembe and Chiriatete Christian Fellowship in Bunyoro-Kitara region.
Pentecostal leadership of Namirembe, Pachwa and Chiriatete Christian Fellowship have organized a mega gospel crusade and conference in Bunyoro-Kitara aimed at influencing residents to appreciate God.
Devil is fake! I am healed! In the name of Jesus! The Son of God!
the 4-day gospel mission under the theme Arise, Go and Bring My People Back attracted thousands of believers and non-believers in Kagadi and Hoima district. This theme was derived from the Bible in the book of Isaiah chapter 60 respectively, after a divine revelation by Professor Simeon Kale Kaiwa of Namirembe Christian Fellowship in 1977.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Accompanied by his wife, Dr. Celia, Professor Simeon Kaiwa, in his keynote address on affirmative leadership, asked clerical leaders against tendencies of comparison in their churches.
When we worship God, sometimes we bow, sometimes we raise our hands, sometimes we lie down. All that is to show God, I will serve you, you are greater than me. I've come to say things that will affect everyone in Uganda, in the world, from Bunyoro.
Professor Kaiwa, Chancellor of Kaiwa International University, who says churches are healing centers but not profit-making ventures, urges the masses to shun away from witchcrafts.
Wake up. Yemuka. Read Isaiah 60. Osome Isaiah nkaga. Go and bring my people back to me. Genda oleta abantu bange na mberendi. Tell them obagambire I'm the greatest power ninyowe mani in all heaven and earth. Omuyiguru no munsi agakukirayo. Tell them to leave witchcraft. Bagambire baruge mu by'oburogo and come back to me. Bagaruke na mberendi. I'll be with you wherever you go. I want to ask you. Nkwenda kukaguza. Will you do what the Lord wants you to do? Ojja kukola ekiruhanga kwenda okole. Without doubting at all. Otenda gurucha kuona. Praise the Lord.
Senior pastors of Pachwa and Chiliatete Christian Fellowship in Bunyoro-Kitara commended Professor Simeon Kaiwa for promoting unity in all churches. Calvary Cross Choir and Worship Force of Namirembe Christian Fellowship adore in ancient and modern hymns. Robert White compiled this report.
Fun is our flavor. When we're together, the vibe is pretty alright. Our taste is pretty awesome. We are Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment. Enjoy Mirinda Fruity, Uganda's #1 fruity refreshment.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, nga you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Stay connected on the largest 4G network in Uganda using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi at only 75,000 Uganda shillings. It comes with 15 GBs free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 of your friends and family at a go. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today or call 0800 333 330 for free delivery within Kampala. Dial *175 *9# to activate free 15 GBs. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. And now into the world of business. Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom has passed a 15.85 billion shillings budget for 2022-2023 with mixed reactions from cabinet ministers and parliament members. As opposed to other budgets, the kingdom's budget was discussed the day it was presented for passing, which created a lot of questions among the members of parliament, cabinet ministers and the Rukurato.
Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom will spend 15.85 billion shillings on its development programs this financial year. The biggest share has been allocated to the Office of the Prime Minister with 20.4%, the Minister of Finance with 14.7%, followed by the Minister of Investment with 14.4% and Palace Affairs with only 13.3%. According to Robert Awongoza, the Kingdom's Prime Minister for Finance, the budget estimates are to cater for the shortfalls encountered in the last 2 years due to COVID-19 pandemics.
Special day for Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom because we have unveiled the budget for the Kingdom for the period financial year 2022-2023. It's been a balanced budget, and the total of the budget is 15,855,152,000 shillings. It has been a balanced budget, therefore meaning that the anticipated revenue is equal to the anticipated expenditure.
The budget presentation has now been received with mixed reactions from some Royal Kingdom of Bunyoro cabinet ministers.
We are not in this cabinet, we are not in this Rukurat to condone or to pass illegalities. Because first of all, giving 20% back to whatever it is not right.
But we are actually ambushed, only that we had a quick go through, and my concern was that 20% commission.
However, the Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom Prime Minister says that they have to stick to the budget's provisions and policies to avoid spending more than they budget for.
Twahikira government na president twamugambe kikuru kiro kusukwa kingure ensalo za Bugoma. Government yaikiriza, cabinet yaikiriza yarabiyaho ne sente zokujja kukingura ensalo ezo. Omulimo okuti kubaire mwamu okubanza bayizire bakangira gate bagarukayo. Hati bayizire baitu baino mulingo baigane bebuzabuzi tubakwenda undi sibakwenda kora nayo undi niyo kora yabo tuna timu yaite tubagana kujya kora nayo ogenda kusanga bagenzere bagarukira tinkahura bakamara.
Byakutaga also told the Kingdom's Parliament on the ongoing boundary opening of Bugoma Forest, but say the NFA and Minister of Lands and Urban Development has not worked together with them and the Kingdom will not accept the outcome. The Prime Minister says there are some political self-seekers who have engaged a section of people in Bulisa district to form a splinter group aimed at creating disunity in the Kingdom. This year's budget was read under the theme Consolidating Bunyoro-Kitara Kingdom's Transformation Agenda.
Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees.
Select to pay using Bridge Schools, School Pay or Beg Pay.
Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
October Bidel Musaba Gardens Mukono, October Mukaga Millennium Gardens Sazibuaya, October Munanaji Montelembara, 10 October, 40 Poto Muchisawe, Abidim Bi October, Bale Sports Center, Mutwalo Kumo, Yebem Twale Santo, a meza million mo, Wabla Batwalo Kumia, Abana tickets of Akosa M10 Momo, Banjagusa Sulan Comitano, Binamina Romo Center, Hiva Motors, Galaxy FM, Radio 4, Kagwina War,
TN.
Sama Furu Balamo!
Welcome back. And now into sports. Uganda Broadcasting Corporation has again showcased talent in the corporate games Uganda 2022-2023. Now, this is the third time corporate games are exhibiting talent, with games held at Chambogo University playgrounds. Participants have competed in different sporting activities, including football, volleyball, woodball, athletics, among others. Over 30 corporate companies are participating in these games. The corporate games aim at bringing institutions together.
Fit to always because many times they are always seated, they are always in the field and all that. Sometimes we really don't get enough time to exercise, but when we participate in these games, it is an opportunity for us to engage, to network with different corporate companies, and also to have fun. Yeah.
The main objectives of the corporate games are to make sure that employees that spend most of their time behind their desk 8 to 5 come here and keep fit, keep healthy, network, provide a platform for marketing, provide a platform for awareness of what we do in our different organizations, but also provide a platform where employees can keep engaged and team build with one another. We are happy to announce our new medical partner, CCare, Uganda. We have been having a relationship with CCare as participants, but we are happy to announce that they have accepted to come on board as medical partners for the corporates that will be participating in the corporate games. What they do is that they offer us healthy medical camps, but also sensitize us on a number of issues that concern our corporate well-being.
You need to know how you're doing. You need to check and see how healthy you are. And therefore, we are bringing this to you. We will be able to do a number of medical camps where we'll be able to do basic checkups, your blood pressure, your BMI, your blood sugar, just to tell you how you're doing. But we also would like to be a wellness partner.
Sports Club Villa fans have, prior to National Football League kickoff due later this month, met their top administrators at Villa Park in Zambia. Though earlier arranged to have club president Omar Mandela address the club fans, the occasion had him conspicuously absent. But nonetheless, this didn't affect enthusiasm, especially with several pronouncements, notably by Ben Emmanuel Misaga. We have the details.
Sports Club Villa fans from across the country have gathered at their traditional home, Villa Park in Zambia. The reason was a meeting with the club's top executive and especially an address from the club president Omar Mandela, who unfortunately was absent. But this didn't deter enthusiasm of the fans that were addressed by several other Sports Club Villa Executive Committee members, especially on key affairs like stadium and the balance sheet.
Building a home for SC Villa has always been our passion, because it has been a problem that everyone has been talking about Villa not having a home. So we had a court case that we awarded some money, but we also had some money. Now we are looking for the land, which I know we are going to get in a while, and before the end of this year, I think we shall be unveiling where we're going to build the stadium. If there is anyone saying he's demanding SC Villa, let him come to us. But I know assuredly now, we don't, of the 500 million or 400, slightly 500, we have cleared all those debts.
Sports Club Villa may be Uganda's most successful football club, but has gone 18 years, minus adding on to their record of 16 National Football League titles. But ahead of the new season that starts for them next month with Wankurukuku Stadium as the home ground, expectations are high.
Naye ekintu kye mulina okutegeera nti omusajja ogwo mulaba William Nkemba n'aba technical bagezezzaako okufuna the best quality. Muyinza okugamba nti ayo nga si walinnya, naye njagala obbajjukiza yetwa Manfred Kizito ani yali amumanyi ne muganda wono yali wano ani Nestroy naye tewali yali amumanyi Philip Sozi naye yali tewali wamumanyi.
Last season, our sports club Villa finished 5th from bottom, and we look to better that.
Well, that's it for the first edition of UBC News Tonight, but do join us at 10 o'clock for our second edition and more stories. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and Muhammad Mugalu in sign language interpretation. We'll see you at 10.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.